Be careful.
When you go live, you should have a little music.
We're live?
We are live.
I want to call to order the St. Lawrence County Industrial Development Agency. Roll call.
Mr. Staples.
Here.
Mr. Blevins.
Here.
Mr. LaBath.
Yeah.
Mr. Hall.
Here.
Mr. McMahon.
Here.
Mr. Reagan.
Here.
Mr. Morrell. Okay, we have a quorum.
Public notice was published September 23rd, 2021. Is there any public comment? There is no public here. May I have a motion to approve the minutes of August 23rd, 2021?
So moving.
Moved by Ernie.
Second.
All in
Want to
favor?
make an adjustment
There's
to
a little
Mr.
discussion I'd
LaBeouf?
like to have previous to me.
I apologize.
Mr. LaBath, were you actually a colonel in the Army?
I was a corporal.
Well, let's change that to corporal.
Me and Hitler.
Corporal. That's the motion?
I
All in
would like to
favor?
make that
Oh.
change.
So, all in favor?
Aye.
Passes unanimously. Do I hear a motion to approve the minutes of August 23rd, 2020?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Financial report.
Kim?
There are no financial reports.
Thank you. Report of committees?
None?
No report of committees. Staff report. Patrick Kelly?
Some quick updates for you. The audit with the comptroller's office is winding down. Our expectation is we'll have a report from them by the end of the year for the IDA. It is a performance monitoring and review audit. Based on our conversations, I think they're going to come back with what I would call favorable review. I think because we perform the monitoring review and project work the way it is supposed to be done, they will probably have some suggestions or things that they think we could do to improve, which is an outcome of any audit. But once we have more information, we'll share that with you. Just on a lighter note, if you see a helicopter flying around, Michaels has a helicopter that they're using to do some inspection work on the NIPA project that has been landing in the cul-de-sac at the end of Commerce Lane periodically. You referenced the Fort Drum discussion in the minutes earlier. We are on target to go there October 7th for a meeting with Major General Beagle. The website, one of the things we have had on our website in partnership with NIPA are some promotional videos and some spotlights of businesses. For example, the one that's on there now is Current Renewable Energy. The media firm that NIPA has engaged on our behalf was here this week. I'll turn it over to Lori to give you a summary of where they went and who they've met with and who they'll be spotlighting going forward.
So they covered just about every point in the county. They actually featured Atlantic Testing Laboratories in Canton, Russell's Groom and Board in Brazier Falls. They took some additional shots of the Messina Bridge to Canada. They visited Pepsi Cola bottlers in Ogdensburg. They did some pictures of the Newell building, including drone shots. And the pictures were done both inside and outside of the building. 5 Mile Line Farms, which is Atkins Dairy in Lisbon, they featured that. They were there very early in the morning to do shots of the milking process in the morning. NCC Systems in Potsdam, which is a veteran-owned company. We wanted to highlight that as well. Potsdam Specialty Paper, SUNY Canton, Small Town Supply over in Gouverneur, Clifton Pine Hospital, the SUNY ESF Ranger School, and they were going to wrap up with doing some drone shots of the J&L and Benson Mines sites
And where will these eventually be shown?
on our website.
All of the pictures or just
they're gonna we'll do a business spotlight feature, and likely it'll, be like rotating in and out through the website, so.
Very good.
So that will be in conjunction with the one that's on there now.
Right now, Current Renewable is our business
But
feature.
we have a video on our website.
Yeah, that is our main,
Right.
sort of our elevator.
Right, that's, we're not
video.
replacing that. This will be,
Correct.
this will be, okay.
In the industry section,
Right.
we'll highlight it on social media.
Yep.
So it'll just be a more dynamic view of a larger
Sure.
part of the county.
Patrick, back on the helicopter, with Michael's, did we have insurance? They have.
It's a public street. It's not our arrangement with
Okay.
them. That's something with them in the village.
Yeah. All right.
Well, I thought it was recommend that we get one.
Well, that would be a good idea,
It-
but, you know, if we did get insurance, if they're gonna run into our building, we'd like to make sure.
The last thing is just to note that the upstate minimum wage is going up to $13.20 effective January 1st. That came out this week, Department of Labor.
Hallelujah.
And that is it for my staff report.
There being no old business, new business. We have 7 resolutions to look at. Resolution 1, accepting the fiscal year 2022 tentative budget. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Seconded.
Second.
Discussion.
So we have our draft budget, which is approved today. It'll be available for review, public review for 20 days, for review and comment. And then we'll have to pass a final budget before the end of October and provide the draft and the final budget to our various outlets that we're required to provide reports and budgets and financial statements to. Kim, do you want to go over some of the highlights of the draft budget? Please.
Sure. One thing I wanted to do, this is a draft, there will be a few line items that I'm fine-tuning before the final is passed. For example, insurance costs have recently come in, so we will update those figures with actuals, so we have more accurate data. Just to do a quick analysis, for the Canton building, it shows Michael's with their 12-month lease projected up $108,000 for revenue. We increased the maintenance on the Canton building because we expect to have to seal the parking lot again. All of the interest expense figures that you see through here or interest receivable figures are based on the T-value calculations of our clients making their payments on time and us making our payments on time to the River Valley and the IDA LDC for our loans. Let me see, a lot of the miscellaneous projects, you'll see that they are closed out. We do anticipate a lot of them completing this year, so we will not have to carry those forward. The rail NVRT revenues, we expect that to occur in next year. Some of the expenses have occurred this year, but we will not be able to draw the money back until next year. One thing that we wanted to talk to you about was the possibility of adding a capital line item for a new vehicle purchase for next year for the final budget. Any thoughts on that?
I'm in favor of it.
How old are our vehicles?
5 and 8 years. One has 70,000 miles, one has over 100.
It's time.
It's the
We can add the line item and not, if we don't make the decision to go forward, that's okay, but I think we should add line item just in case we do decide to.
I agree with that.
Anybody have
Okay.
any-
No, I agree with it.
there's consensus to do that.
I think they need to be replaced.
Okay, I will add that line item for the final budget. Does anybody have any specific line item questions that I can answer?
I have a question on, our revenue from the county.
Yeah.
Do we have a contract with the county for that? Okay,
The number in there is next year's contractual.
Okay.
They've not approved their budget yet, but
Right.
we did our presentation and
Okay.
nothing different.
perfect.
The, post-employment benefits
Yeah,
increased a lot. I'm sure you have that explanation right away, but I just curious as to what it would be.
For 2022, we actually decreased the budgeted line from 190,000 this year to 150,000.
Right.
That will all be based on our actuarial study when it returns, and it's also based on New York State Retirement's actuarial study, so it's very hard to predict.
It hasn't hit yet.
That's where I'm looking. Neither one of those look like a final number. Yeah, like 2020 has a final number. Okay,
Yeah, that's something that's done at the end of the year via a journal entry, so you won't see the 2021 line until we basically approve the audits at the end of the year.
Yep.
And we will also do a modification to the budget at that time to balance every line back to actual.
okay. Explain
That's
the,
our best estimate.
Are there any more questions? All in favor of the resolution?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Passes unanimously.
If anybody does have any questions going forward, just feel free to email me and I'll answer those and we'll look into anything.
perfect.
Second resolution, accepting standard workday resolution. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
This is a required resolution. We used to do one, since we have a timekeeping system, we thought we did not have to. As part of our discussions with the comptroller, they've said they prefer to see a resolution. This is one we will pass now, and if there's further guidance from them after when we have the report, we may adjust it, but if they told us we need one, we want to have one in here.
But this is strictly for reporting to the retirement system.
Correct.
Okay.
Any further questions? All in favor of the resolution?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Passes unanimously. Resolution 3, authorizing approving resolution for GSPP 409 Ferris Road LLC. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Discussion.
Project Manager Rich Williams. Rich, I know the specific details are on Exhibit A on page 17, conforming with our new format to lay out the project information as clearly as possible. Some words on this one?
This was an application from last year. It was an Omni project when we first brought it forward. They, a few months ago, sold it to GSPP along with two other projects in the town of Lawrence, which are your next two resolutions. We had a public hearing on this yesterday. There were no comments made via live or streaming. The town's pretty excited about the projects. Anxious to go. Are there any specific questions on the project or resolution?
Further clarification on who GSPP is?
Green Street Power Partners, I think is what their actual name is, and they go by GSPP.
And they're just a group or a corporation that's making this proposal.
They own power generation facilities around this. This is what they do is they take the projects that somebody else got started
And
that
finish them.
they own.
What type of land is it on?
These are all on farmland.
Active or inactive?
They haven't been active for the last year or two, but it's what the local assessor considers prime farmland because it was all tiled. And this isn't all of it, but it's 70 acres of 250 acres. Or thereabouts,
And this project is 33 of the
Right.
229 acre parcel.
Right.
Any more questions on the
Is there
resolution?
any local opposition to this?
Any opposition, local opposition?
there was none,
No one came to the meeting.
Correct.
only the assessor.
Opposition.
Are there any more questions concerning the resolution?
Anytime we take land away, I wonder.
Wonder what?
If there's objections to losing the acreage.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Good question. No one came to the open meeting, except for the assessor, right?
We're clear on that one.
Yeah. All in favor of the resolution?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Passes unanimously. Resolution authorizing approval, resolution for GSPP 641 Ferris Road East LLC. Do I hear a motion?
So,
So moved. Second.
Moved and seconded.
The exhibit
Discussion.
is on page 30 with, again, the consistent layout of the project information. Rich, this is a same company.
Same company, same road. This one's actually a different lot. But it's a portion of that lot. I know it's another 30 acres or so.
29 and a half.
And then your next resolution will address a smaller project, which is only 2.5 megawatts. And that's simply because of the capacity of the connection. So you'll see they started off with, the first one was 5 megawatts. This one's 4 and the next one's 2.5.
And these will all be connected?
Yes.
Now, at the open meeting, did anyone come to oppose or be in favor of?
The only one that showed up at the meeting was the assessor / code officer, and he made no public comment.
Fine. Any further discussion? All in favor of the resolution?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, passes unanimously. Next, resolution approving resolution of GSPP 641 Ferris Road West LLC. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Do I hear a second?
second.
Discussion?
Again, page 43, the specifics of the project, which are consistent with the information in the cost benefit analysis, I'll point out. Rich, you mentioned this one's 2.5 megawatts and
It's 2.5 megawatts. I don't know if there's a need to discuss the pilot amounts on these. The consent resolutions that were passed for these 3 projects, the school passed, I think it was $29.50 per megawatt. The towns approved it at $32.50 per megawatt. And our recommendation, which you'll see in the resolution for all of these, is $5,000 per megawatt.
keeping it consistent with the levels we've been at and the analysis we've done on the surrounding project.
The early logic behind the lower dollar amounts is that these are located in Zone D, which is some of the lowest power costs in the country. In discussions with Andy McMahon, we don't think that's going to remain that way. With the improved infrastructure, Zone D will become more in line with the rest of the zones in the area. We had this discussion with the developer. They feel it's a bit of a strain, but they can make it work.
Let me ask you a question. Would you do a brief discussion of zones in New York State relative to power? Generally, how many zones are there?
Why don't we have Andy McMahon on the call? And he's
Yes.
probably better suited for, Andy?
I might be looking for another
Yeah.
job, but Andy had to work.
Brian, there's, I think 13 zones in New York State. Zone D is the northeast corner. It's historically been the cheapest power. There's a zone in New York City, a zone in Long Island, which are historically the most expensive. Capital District is pretty expensive. Anyway, Zone D has been, as I said, historically the cheapest. But with all the transmission lines going in, it's expected that the cost of power between our zone and other zones will be equalized. So, Rich and Patrick talked to me about, considering a different pilot because of diminished zonal prices, and my recommendation is that because in the very near future, NYPA's transmission lines will be completed, that discount would not be required.
I think most people don't know that, let's say most civilians don't understand that there are 13 or so separate electric zones in the state that have different rates, different base rates.
Yeah, oftentimes the difference is pretty subtle. But New York City is typically dramatically higher, and certainly over the last couple of years, Zone D has been dramatically lower. But as I said, with the transmission lines going in, that anomaly is being resolved. And that's why they're building the transmission lines, because it was our depressed, lower price, whatever you call it, cost in our load zone sends price signals saying, hey, build a transmission line, you can make money off it. That's what's going on.
Okay, thank you. Any further discussion of the resolution?
We need to take power away from us.
They're not taking power away from us. It means the price of power up here is going up and the price of power elsewhere is going down, but the upside of the cost of power going up is that you have more power plants up here and power generating resources. So, which is what we're seeing. We're seeing all these solar projects going in and wind projects over to our east, which, you know, if they want to produce power to, you know, now that they can send it downstate and make more money.
Thank you, Andy.
Yes.
All in favor of the resolution?
Aye.
Aye. Passes unanimously. Next resolution, authorizing approving resolution of Wadham's Solar LLC. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Discussion.
On page 56, you'll see the summary. And again, as is pointed out in the cost benefit analysis, this is the name Wadham Solar. This is located right behind Wadham's Hall on property owned by the Diocese of Ogdensburg. It's not on the tax roll. This is a 4.75 megawatt project. Rich, anything to add?
Nothing remarkable here. This is, the primary company is Nexamp. We've had some other projects from them come through. This one here, they're looking for a 30-year pilot, so it'll increase for the first 20 years, decrease for the final 10 years. And they're also looking for a sales and use tax exemption of $10,000 per megawatt.
Both of those are consistent with the other projects.
You guys have passed for other projects.
Will there be any annual property taxes on this?
Yes, oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's the point, yeah.
Look, and again, it's a bit of a nuance here. On all of these projects, the underlying parcel is unaffected by the pilot. The pilot is on the improvements.
Right.
Specifically, what's unique about, you know, compared to some of the others have baseline property that's on the tax roll. Everything through the pilot is additive. In this case, there's no, the county, the school, the town are receiving nothing for the property. That will dramatically change to the tune of, you know, $20,000 or so in the first year of the pilot alone.
Right, it's important to differentiate between the land tax
Correct.
and the tax on the solar panels.
Correct. The payment in lieu of tax on the panels, but in this case, you're going not from a very small amount to a large amount, you're going from nothing to a large amount.
Right, thank you. Any further discussion on this resolution? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Passes unanimously. Next resolution, authorizing approving resolution for Hewelton Solar LLC. Do I hear a motion? Second?
And the
Discussion.
summary exhibit A is page 72. Rich, this one is unique as well in as much as the current land ownership.
This land is owned by the village of Hubleton, so it's also exempt property. So the pile will be on top of nothing. So, and this is a new company for us. This is Community Energy Solar, I think it is.
Yep.
So they're hoping to do more projects in the area. This is their first one. They are also looking for a 30-year pilot, same structure, also the sales and use tax exemption of 10,000 per megawatt. Otherwise, nothing remarkable.
Okay. Question that I have in these is uniformity. And I think I already know the answer to the question, but we've been in a position in negotiations or discussions that there are uniform numbers between these organizations, correct? Uniform cost per watt,
The
exemptions in general?
We are at a consistent per megawatt level. The terms are different for, there's across the 20 or so we've approved, there's probably 3 different timing structures based on the specific project, the application request. Some have requested sales tax, some have not. What we have done for sales tax, for example, is the cap at 10,000 per megawatt, because we do not want, the benefit to be the pilot payments to the jurisdictions and have them be, wiped out for 10 years by a sales tax exemption. I think the look that this agency has done at that level of specificity has been a priority for us.
Good.
And this does seem to cover, at least in our discussions with the developer, cover purchases that are done locally. So
The sales tax exemption.
sales tax exemption at that level.
Any further discussion? All in favor of the resolution?
I,
Aye.
Aye, resolution passes unanimously. So that should be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 resolutions?
Yes, yes.
Yes, well, we're all done, thanks. Is there a necessity for an executive session?
There is not,
Is there any more business?
not for we have LDC, CDC, and PDC meetings to follow. But that,
I move to adjourn this meeting.
It's adjourned.
Second,
give Rich a moment to let that wind down.
I think